the foolishness. Stop with the nonsense. Let's stop acting like this is so. Which is still a great, great basketball player. But you guys keep trying to make Paige Beckers is not as popular and as Caitlin Clark is. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that.
She scores, I think, historically has been overlooked in women's basketball players.
38 feet and be like, oh, the NBA on a fast break gives me. We don't think that. Oh, what are we talking about? None of us care. None of us care. Is not straight. It's really, really sad and annoying. Nasty work.
The host opens frustrated with what he sees as Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe overcomplicating a straightforward comparison between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers. That frustration is real, and it reflects a genuine, recurring debate in Wenbei media about why these two players get covered so differently.
Popular as she is. When I watched Caitlin Clark put up a 40-point triple-double in the NCAA tournament and all the stuff she was doing her freshman year, sophomore year, her pulling up from logo and all of that, at no point did dunking come across my mind. At no point did I watch Caitlin Clark pull up from 38 feet and be like, oh, that gives me the same feeling.
The Yukon bloodline reference is a fair, real observation about the program's outsized pipeline into the league. Plenty of former Huskies do occupy prominent media roles now, and that's a legitimate thing to note when discussing who's shaping the conversation around these players.
It lives off the dribble. It lives in the mid-range.
It's not that we didn't know y'all could play. It's just the shit was boring to people. Like why can't that be the realistic thing? It was boring to people. I'm sorry. It was boring to people. I love Sue Bird. Sue Bird was my favorite point guard ever. Diana Taurasi was my favorite player ever. I knew y'all was good. I knew y'all were great players. Was it always super exciting? No.
Setting up the actual clip before reacting to it is the right move here, and it's worth giving Bird and Rapinoe's real commentary a fair hearing before deciding whether the criticism lands.
I'm sorry. It was boring to people. I love Sue Bird. Sue Bird was my favorite point guard ever. Diana Taurasi was my favorite player ever. I knew y'all was good. I knew y'all were great players. Was it always super exciting? No. I watched it. Did everybody watch it? Clearly not. The numbers show that.
Here's Bird's actual quote, and it's a real substantive basketball argument that Bueckers' style, historically undervalued mid-range and off-the-dribble scoring, doesn't get the same credit Clark's long-range shooting does, and that Clark's logo threes became something skeptics couldn't argue with.
This nonsense dialogue about why their beloved Yukon Husky, you know the Yukon Husky bloodline in the WNBA runs deep. You know, Gino has put a lot of these players in the league. It is what it is. They are continuing to pretend like they don't understand why Caitlin Clark is who she is. They keep.
Rapinoe's real follow-up is worth including too. She's specifically pushing back on the idea that Clark's threes are popular because they resemble dunking, arguing instead it's genuinely her whole style of play that generates excitement. That's a real, more nuanced point than the setup suggests.
They don't understand why Caitlin Clark is who she is. They keep trying to force this comparison with Paige Beckers that is not a comparison. Let's take a look. They're talking about sexuality, all of this stuff that does not matter. None of us care. Y'all can't say race because Paige and Caitlin are both white, so you couldn't use that. Let's listen to what they have to say about this. This is nonsense.
I think the way Paige plays, not just the efficiency, but just the way she scores, I think historically has been overlooked in women's basketball players. And that is what helped Kate.
The point about men trying to replicate Clark's logo 3 shot themselves, and the broader observation that women's basketball skill has historically been dismissed with comments like, anyone could do that, reflects a real, well-documented pattern in how women's sports have been covered and discussed for decades.
Black women, she did the same thing as Paige. She did the same thing. She was behind the scenes trying to get all of these women, majority of them black women, trying to get them all paid more money behind the scenes. What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about?
Is there something to that she's not and it's really not in
The host's pushback here, that it wasn't lack of knowledge but genuine excitement level driving audience interest, is a fair, competing explanation worth taking seriously alongside Bird and Rapinoe's read, since both things can be partially true about the same underlying trend.
Exciting style of play, Sue. Come on. Come on.
Hey, I think that a lot of guys, sadly, they've been able to put our game down and not respect it because they didn't really know. They clearly didn't know. And that's where Paige's game lives. It lives off the dribble. It lives in the mid-range.
It's not that we didn't know y'all could.
And this exchange is genuinely one of the more honest moments in the clip. The host openly admitting he knew women's basketball players were great, but found the product less exciting to watch personally, which is a real, if blunt, admission that complicates any single explanation for Clark's specific popularity surge.
Play is just the shit was boring to people. Like why can't that be the realistic thing? It was boring to people. I'm sorry. It was boring to people. I love Sue Bird. Sue Bird was my favorite point guard ever. Diana Taurasi was my favorite player ever. I knew y'all was good. I knew y'all were great players. Was it always super exciting? No. I watched it. Did everybody watch it? Clearly not. The numbers show that. Like, come on with this, man.
You can do a lot of I think.
Here's where the conversation shifts into genuinely contested territory. Bird and Rapinoe floating the idea that there might be a cultural dimension tied to Bucher's being an out gay athlete who's been vocal about racial justice, wondering aloud whether that affects who gets elevated as the biggest star. That's a real, if speculative, theory about marketability, not an attack on anyone.
Also wonder if there's some kind of cultural reason for this. Paige is an out gay player. She's been explicit in her support for racial justice.
Oh my God. Now we're talking about Paige being a lesbian. What are we talking about? So when it was Angel Reese, it was race. It was about race. It was black and white. Oh, she's popular because she's white. You can't say that with Paige. So now you're going to say, oh, it's because she's outwardly gay.
The host's reaction is strong and worth hearing as his genuine opinion, arguing that bringing sexuality into this specific conversation feels like reaching, especially pointing out that Clark has also spoken up for black women's pay equity, which undercuts any framing that support for social causes alone explains the popularity gap.
Exactly how.
See, you're doing that because of what you are. And we are fine with what you and Sue are. That's cool. I don't care who nobody dates, who nobody sleep with. You're doing that because of your preference. We're not thinking about that. So now, because Caitlyn is straight and Paige is not, that's why Caitlyn is so much more exciting and people are buying thousands and thousands of tickets all around the world to watch her play. Not because she's fun to watch, not because she's exciting, because she's straight.
It's worth being precise here about what Bird and Rapinoe actually said versus how it gets characterized afterward. They floated this as one possible cultural factor among several, not as the single, definitive explanation for Clark's popularity, and that distinction matters for evaluating the host's response fairly.
I think that a lot of guys, sadly, they've been able to put our game down and not respect it because they didn't really know. They clearly didn't know. And that's where Paige's game lives. It lives off the dribble. It lives in the mid-range.
It's not that we didn't know y'all could play. It's just the shit was boring to people. Like why can't that be the realistic thing? It was boring to people.
The attendance statistic about Dallas ranking low in the league is a real, checkable data point, though attributing that entirely to any single cause, whether style of play, media coverage, or anything else, oversimplifies what's likely a genuinely multi-factor business story.
What do we have here? We have Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe continuing this nonsense dialogue. about why their beloved UConn Husky, you know the UConn Husky bloodline in the WNBA runs deep. You know, Gino has put a lot of these players in the league. It is what it